Hey there and welcome. Have you ever just stopped to think about how weird language is? I mean, really think about it. We use words all day, every day, but how do they actually work? How can a simple sound or a few letters on a screen carry so much meaning? Well, today we're going to dive right into that mystery.
So, at the very heart of all this is one huge question. How is it that a single word can mean totally different things depending on the context, but we all just get it? Let's take a super common word. How about run?
Okay, so you can run a company, right? This means you're managing it, you're leading it, you're overseeing things. Nobody's physically jogging, but we all know exactly what that means. Then, of course, you can run a race. Now, this is the classic definition, right? Moving your legs fast, competing, a totally physical act. It's completely different from running a company. And then there's this one. My nose is running. Here, it just means a liquid is flowing. So think about that. We've got managing, sprinting, and flowing, all packed into the same little four-letter word. How on earth does our brain knock a short circuit? Well, it turns out there's a really elegant two-part system making it all work. So to crack this puzzle, we've got to understand that every single concept we use kind of has two sides to its personality. There's the part that's always the same, and then there's the part that changes depending on the situation. So let's meet the two key players in this whole drama.
On one side, we've got something called edetic semantics. I know, it's a mouthful, so let's just call it the core blueprint. And on the other side, we have operational semantics, which is way easier to think of as the specific use. So one is like the unchanging DNA of an idea, and the other is how that DNA gets expressed out in the real world.
All right, let's zoom in on that first piece, the core blueprint. What is this stable, foundational meaning that all those different uses of the word run seem to be pulling from? This core blueprint, it's the pure, essential, unchangeable idea of the word. It's completely stripped of any specific situation. You could say it's the very soul of the concept, that pure runness that exists whether we're talking about a business, a marathon, or a sniffly nose. And this core blueprint has some really key traits. For one, it's context-free. It also exists in our minds before we even use the word. That's what a priori means. It's preloaded, you could say. And finally, it acts like a kind of master template, a generalized picture of all the ways we could possibly use that word. Now here's the really crucial part. This core blueprint is our anchor. It's the stable foundation that makes sure that you and I are talking about the same thing even when we're using the word in totally different ways. Honestly, without it, communication would just fall apart.
Okay, so we've got the stable core, the blueprint, but how do we get from that abstract idea to the specific meaning we need right here, right now? Well, let's flip the coin and look at the other side.
And this is where the specific use comes into play. This is the flexible, the practical, the get the job done meaning. It's all about our goal in that moment. When you say run a company, the context of business just instantly snaps that core idea into the shape of management, because that's what's useful. But here's the catch. If we only had this flexible operational meaning, language would be absolute chaos. It would lead to what some linguists call lexical relativism, where the word run could mean literally anything to anyone at any time. That's why the stable core blueprint is so vital. It holds the whole system together.
So, this all brings up another massive question, right? Where do these core blueprints even come from? I mean, how are these stable concepts born inside our minds in the first place? Well, it turns out our minds use this incredibly powerful piece of cognitive technology to do it.
And that technology is called abstraction. Abstraction is the mental engine that we use to take the messy, complicated, nonstop flow of real-world experience and boil it down into a clean, stable, and usable concept. It works through a process that some call a discontinuity jump, which you can see right here. We start with all this continuous sensory input, seeing lots of different things moving quickly. Then our mind makes this incredible jump, this leap of abstraction, where it ignores all the irrelevant details and just focuses on the core pattern. And poof, we land on a stable, formal concept, like the core idea of running. The brilliant mathematician Henri Poincaré summed this up just perfectly. He said the mind bridges the gap between continuous sensory experience and the discrete, formal concepts of scientific theory. That's the jump he's talking about, right there.
Now, the specific tool our mind uses for this is just fascinating. It's called the abstraction of identification. And the keyword here is active. Our brain isn't just passively noticing things that are similar. No, it's actively constructing the very idea of sameness. It looks at a dozen different examples of running and says, you know what? I'm going to treat all of these as one category, literally creating order out of chaos.
So we've got the core blueprint, which is created by abstraction, and we've got the specific use for our daily lives. Why is this two-part system so important? What's the big takeaway here?
This table really pulls it all together nicely. Just look at the left column. That's our core blueprint. Its nature is stable. It's a solid foundation. Its whole function? To enable shared knowledge, so that we're all starting from the same page. Now look at the right. That's our specific use. Its nature is flexible and pragmatic, ready for anything the real world throws at it. Its function? To let us actually apply that knowledge. You absolutely have to have both. One without the other is useless. Knowledge without action is pointless, and action without shared knowledge is just chaos.
And, this isn't just some neat little quirk of how we talk. This perfect balance between a stable core and its flexible application, this is the absolute engine of human progress. It's how we build shared knowledge. It's how we do science. It's how we work together on a massive scale.
And that leaves us with one final fascinating thought. This process, this abstraction, it's not something that happened in the past. It's happening all the time. Right now, our collective minds are taking the messy, new experiences of things like AI and global culture, and they're forging brand new, stable concepts. So the real question is, what new ideas are being born today, right before our very eyes?